Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Knightfall Batman from Mcfarlane Toys. I'm going to give you just a couple of quick opinions on him, then we're going to do some comparisons and see how he stacks up to some other figures to kind of put him in perspective of where I think he falls as far as ranking when it comes to Mcfarlane Batman figures. So, let's take a look at the figure here real quick first, and there's a lot of good going on here. Now, I just got this guy in on pre-order from GameStop. I'll be honest, I mean, I wanted to see what Mcfarlane would do with a Knightfall Batman, but honestly, there was a couple times I almost canceled my pre-order, and, you know, I'm having a lot of issues with Mcfarlane Toys lately, and I may do a separate video on that. I'm not going to get into that in this video. But I kind of wasn't sure that I wanted to pick this guy up. In the end, I ended up leaving the pre-order in place, and honestly, I'm glad I did because I actually really do like this figure. I think it's very, very well done, and as we get into some comparisons with other figures, you'll see why I think that it does have its downsides, and I am gonna kind of point those out. But in general, I think the sculpt is great. I think the size of this figure as Batman is done perfectly. I feel like this is Bruce Wayne in the Batsuit. Some of the other figures we've gotten from Mcfarlane as far as Batman figures go, I feel like it's some hulked out, you know, roided Bane version of Bruce Wayne in the costume because he's just so huge. And while those are great figures unto themselves, when you put them on a shelf with other figures, Batman is just too big. I mean, he's supposed to be a relatively average height man, you know, 6'1", 6'2", whatever it is, and he looks like he's damn near 7 feet tall and taking steroids. I mean, it's just not what I expect out of Batman, who to me should be an average height guy who's very athletic. That's what Batman should be, and this is what this sculpt gives me, which I'm very, very happy about. As far as articulation goes, it's standard McFarlane stuff, so there's not a lot to say there. Basically, it's good articulation is what it boils down to. The paint work on it, while not much, is done really well, nice and clean. The logo looks good, the belt looks good. You know, we've got the spikes on the gloves there that look great. The boots look good. It's a very simplistic sculpt and design, and there's not a lot of paint on this guy, but what is there looks really, really good. Head sculpt looks fantastic. I really like that. Overall, it is a very, very good Knightfall Batman representation, and I'm glad that I picked him up. Now, the one major complaint that I have, which I think a lot of people have had with this guy, is that the gray on the suit is just too light. Knightfall Batman was not that light of gray. It's almost bordering on white, in my opinion, and it almost harkens back to the old Adam West Batman suit as opposed to a Knightfall Batman suit in the coloring of the gray. The blue looks good. I think the color of blue they went with on this figure looks fantastic. The gray is just too light, and if I had to give you guys one complaint that I have, that's what it's going to be. I'm also still not a fan of these stylized capes. While this one is not bad at all, and it's very flexible, and it does look good, and it's not crazy stylized, so it is done well, I'm still just not a fan of McFarlane's stylized capes. I would just prefer to have a cape natural and just coming down, not like it's blowing in the wind or anything like that. But overall, the figure is really, really good, and I'm glad I picked him up. So now we're going to do some comparisons here to see how this guy stacks up in compared to some other McFarlane figures. All right, so first up we've got what I think are probably the two best Batman figures that McFarlane has put out for me personally up to this point, which of course on the left we've got the new Hush Batman, on the right we've got Detective Comics 1000, and they both have their pros and their cons. Overall, the Hush Batman is damn near a perfect figure, except for the fact that he's too big for Bruce Wayne, and of course, the cape itself is just far too stylized. Other than that, it is the perfect combination of sculpt and paint, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And then on this Detective Comics 1000 Batman, I actually really, really like this figure. It does suffer from a few sculpting issues that the Mcfarlane DC Multiverse stuff suffered from early on, like the rib cage at that upper torso joint just doesn't look great. The arms are a little skinny, but as far as his size, height-wise, he's actually right where I would expect Batman to be. He's right in line with this new, Knightfall Batman, but also his head is a little small. So honestly, as I look at these, I would kind of love to see a new version of Detective Comics Batman done up with this buck right here, because I think that would actually work out pretty well. But these are two of my favorites. Your favorites may be different, that's fine. How this guy stacks up to both of these, I think he's a much better representation of Batman Bruce Wayne than either of these two figures. He's got the more modern sculpt and articulation for McFarlane over this DC Detective Comics 1000, and he's more size appropriate as a Bruce Wayne than this Hush Batman. I think this figure right here is better than both of these, but we do have to do one more comparison to another McFarlane Batman, which I think is a great figure unto itself, very well done figure, but just a really, really bad representation of Bruce Wayne. And again, we get into what I was talking about here, this kind of roided out, hulking Bane version of Batman. This dude is just too big. That does not look like Bruce Wayne in a bat costume. It almost looks like Bane in a bat costume. I mean, it's just too much. And in fact, both of these figures here are just too big to be Bruce Wayne. While they are great figures and I love them, when you put them in a lineup with other figures, whether it be Robin, Joker, Superman, the rest of the Justice League, whatever, these figures just don't look good. They're just too big to be Bruce Wayne. All right, and so the one comparison I think that is most important when it comes to a Batman figure is how does he look standing next to Superman? Because we are talking the two most prominent and important DC characters that there are. And the two founding members of the Justice League. How does he look standing next to Superman? Now, here we have represented what I think are the two most common McFarlane sculpts for Superman. We've got the standard, Action Comics 1000 Superman, and then this horribly overdone, hulked out reuse of the Bizarro body Superman, which I just truly dislike. This does not look like Superman. Okay, this is a Bizarro body. Bizarro is supposed to be a big, hulking, misshapen figure, and it works great for Bizarro, not for Superman. This Action Comics 1000 actually looks like Superman. But how does this Knightfall Batman actually compare to these two? And honestly, whether you like this hulked out version, this roided out Bizarro version of Superman, or whether you like me, a more traditional look like this Action Comics 1000 Superman, this Batman actually looks good with these two. He doesn't look too big. Because, let's be honest, Batman should not be bigger than Superman. He just shouldn't. Superman should be slightly taller and probably a little more muscular. Maybe not by much, but by a little. And especially when you put this guy next to what I feel is a good representation of Superman here. They look absolutely perfect together. This looks like the founding members of the Justice League, and I absolutely love it. All right, so let's talk price and give you my wrap-up thoughts on this guy. So he's 25 bucks. If you can find him at retail, if you were able to get him on pre-order. If not, on the secondary market, this guy is going for between 40 to 50 bucks depending on shipping. Is this guy worth 40 to 50 bucks? No, hell no he's not. He's just not. There are too many Batman figures out there. There is no way in hell that I would pay that much for this guy. Is he worth retail at 25 bucks? Yeah, sure. He's an actually really good Batman. Arguably, maybe the best representation of Batman we've gotten from McFarlane Toys so far for a good classic suit Batman. I'd say he's absolutely worth retail, and if you can find him for retail, yes, do it, pick him up. But more than that, no, I don't think he's worth it. While it is a good figure, it still has issues. It still has issues with the color. It still has little minor issues that McFarlane toys just have. Now, that's not to say if you love him, go pay whatever you want for him. But just in terms of value for your money, what kind of plastic are you getting for your dollar? This dude's no way worth 40 to 50 bucks. He's just not. At retail, yes. More than that, I say pass on him, quite honestly. But overall, I did get him at retail. I'm happy that I got him because I do think it is probably McFarlane's best attempt at Batman so far. It is the perfect combination of the classic suit, the emblem, the right height, the right sculpt, the right body structure for a Bruce Wayne. I think it is really, really well done. And I personally, even though I've been having my issues with McFarlane lately, I'm still really glad that I picked this guy up. But I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. So let me know what you think of this guy. Do you have him? Do you want him? If you have him, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and always remember to enjoy your collection.